growing.
I know you fought to get the Olympic-sized swimming pool at Westinghouse, and the high school has been a big issue for you in the community. Can you kind of bring us up to date on that and how things are going and what the schedule is on Westinghouse?
Well, it looks like it's going to be 2008 before we get it done. And the reason why it's going to take longer is because there were some problems with the initial bidding. I think all of the companies that came in to bid were overbidded the project. And once they overbidded the project, then they kind of threw everything off. And so they're going to have to go back now and rebid. But I'm interested in education, period. I think posterity is really our most important product. Someone has to take care of the young people, get them ready to go out and take care of the world and make sure that America can continuously to be the country that we want it to be. But if you don't have children who have the educational skills in order to do that, then we're not going to be able to be competitive with people in the world. And the world now is so small until you just talking virtually to the people next door because of all the technology that's available. So one of the things I did about almost 9 years ago, I went to the superintendent of education here and said to him, we really do need to build a first-class school on the west side of Chicago. And of course we're talking about Westinghouse High School. Right now the kids in Westinghouse are kids who have been taking classes in a building that was built in 1926. It is not applicable for good education. So we wanted to make sure that those kids get a great school that could provide them with all of the educational amenities that's necessary. I often talk about having those kids be on the par with the Loomis Chaffee, the Phillips Exeter, these schools that top-notch schools in the world. And so we want that to be on par. So I have been advocating that. And then they start talking about this Olympic coming to Chicago in 2016. And I thought that ought to be sort of an addendum to the educational process, because once the Olympics come to Chicago, all of the resources and the residuals as a result of the Olympics should be something that will add to education in the city of Chicago. And why not have that on the west side of Chicago? One of the things we talked about was having an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And the reason why we talked about that is because the kids from foreign countries, Norway, Russia, etc., will be coming here and they will be participants in the swimming process. And if our kids do not get an opportunity to participate and practice in the swimming athletics, then they're not going to be able to compete once the Olympics gets here. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to have an Olympics come here and have the kids from foreign countries to win all the medals because we simply did not process and get our kids ready for the Olympics. So that's why we fought so hard for the Olympic swimming pool.
Right. Have you been successful in that? Is that still in the works?
Well, we're still talking.
Yeah.
We don't want to do anything that's going to be an adversity to the Olympics. We don't want them to feel that we got some infighting. But I have met with them. I've been in meeting. And we want to work the thing out. Obviously, we really do want the Olympics because it can be a great edifice for the city of Chicago. And we want to be a part of helping to bring that here. We don't want to be an adversity, but certainly we want to be inculcated in the process when it comes to our children.
And Westinghouse, is it about a $70 million project? Does that sound right?
Yes, well, when it first started, it was a $45 million project. But because of the escalating prices and the expansion of lands that had to be purchased and all the things that had to be done to the land and getting it in shape, making sure that all the carcinogens out of the soil and all of that, so it expanded. So right now it's about a $75 million project.
Which would make it the most expensive school probably, right?
It would be one of the most expensive, but I don't think you can put a price on education. Whatever it takes to educate our children, I think we have to do that. We either have to pay now or we're going to pay later. And if you pay later, it's going to be a great adversity, not only to our city, but to the country. And we don't want that to happen.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about, your ward faces some big challenges. High unemployment is a big issue. Drugs in the community is a big issue. your website talks about improvements that have been made in the community. Can you point to anything specifically in terms of addressing those problems, or point to anything that's kind of on the way or ongoing?
Yes. First of all, we just got through talking about the education process, and we got any number of elementary schools here, and I've got 4 or 5 high schools in my ward, and we work with all of those schools to embellish them. But there has to be, and we're building new homes in the west side of Chicago and in our ward. And you have to bring the business, build the new homes, because there has to be a symbiotic relationship between business and community. So we understand that, so we try to bring that along together. So we are bringing the businesses, and you have to have a multiplicity kind of businesses when you bring them here. There are people who do not have cognitive skills. There are people who are educated, PhD degrees, master's degrees, professional people. But the majority of the people who live in this ward do not have all those degrees. So you got to try to bring those businesses there that will give them an opportunity to have a job where they can maintain themselves and their families. So we've got the Brinks Corporation. We got the second largest money counting facility in the country here in Chicago. The number one company is in Dallas, Texas, but the second largest money counting facility is in Chicago. And we have Christian Industrial League. They have a $25 million business over there where they're teaching and training people now. About 300 people are in that building right now, and they're trying to help them to garner the necessary skills so they can go out and buy themselves, get themselves a job, or start their own business. Once they start their own businesses, then they can hire other people from the neighborhood, because one of the major problems is we have people out here with no skills, and those shops that come out of there can hire people and allow them to be pretty productive. And then we just built a brand new company with Midway Movers. They hire about 500 people, and they hire people who do not have skills. And they got to have a strong back and a willingness to work, but they will hire them as long as they will come to work, make sure that they do it the right thing, keep the good record, and the good habits and all of that. So they will hire those people. So those are some of the things that we're doing. And then we got the anodizing company. There are any number of other companies that we brought to the city of Chicago.